recognizes him as Dana, a formidable martial artist and a member of the hero's party. After cleaning herself with the help of water spirits, Red asks Danon what he was doing here, and he tells her that the hero ordered him to find Red. Red is anxious that he will take him back, but Danon tells her that since Red has found a home here, he does not plan to force him away from it. Danon then takes off the hood of one of the men he just knocked down to reveal that he is actually an intermediate rank demon. Red is shocked to see a demon in a peaceful area such as Zoltan, and Danon requests her help in investigating this incident. However, he wants her to keep him a secret from Red, and she obliges. After that, Red returns home, exhausted from work, and immediately jumps on her husband's lap to relax. She does not tell him much about what happened outside and learns that someone from the Thieves Guild gifted Al a sword when they were both away. Red wants her to take a look at it. Red uses her magic to analyze the sword, and she finds that it was a nice sword. However, there was a tracking spell cast on it, and the location of the sword was always being transmitted to the caster. Red asks what the Thieves Guild would gain from tracking Al, but Red has more important things to do, like flirting with Red and acting sad about keeping Danon a secret from him. The next day, Red and Red take Al to a swordsmith to get his first weapon made. While Red helps him select design and material, Red hears a commotion outside and goes to check it. A man is gathering discontented people to protest against the town guard. Red asks some adventurers what is going on, and they reply that the man inciting the crowd was paid by the leader of the Thieves Guild to create unrest. Soon, the double bed Red ordered arrives, and Red stands in awe as he watches her waiting for him on the bed. He jumps in and asks her to lay next to him. They do some kissing and flirting, but then notice that there is a kid in the house, so they decide to postpone their lovemaking for another day and go to sleep. The next morning, Red covers herself from head to toe and ventures into some shady alleys, where the bald adventurer and his comrades from the Thieves Guild surround her. They think that they are dealing with Al because of the sword with the tracker fit in it, but Red casts away her hood to reveal that she has outsmarted them. Baldy is furious at being fooled, and he commands his men to attack her, but Red is too agile for them and takes them all down. One man is left for last, and he thinks that he will have a nice battle with the famous adventurer Red. She has also realized the man's true identity and told him to stop pretending to be human. He smiles and then suddenly transforms into a huge axe demon, and his fight with Red begins. On the other hand, Al is waiting in the shop with the guard when the one-eyed man who gifted him the sword knocks again. The guard opens the door and lets him in, revealing that he was in cahoots with the Thieves Guild. The one-eyed man says that while Rit thinks she outsmarted them, she just fell into their trap. Their real plan was to send her away so that they could kidnap the elf. Al tries to fight back, but a man quickly moves behind him and grabs his hand. The boy asks them what they want, and the one-eyed man claims that they will make him the hero of Zoltan. He takes Al to the Thieves Guild and brings him to their leader, a hobgoblin named Big Hawk. Big Hawk starts telling Al his life story unprompted. He explains how he was born in slums and fought his way to the top. Now that he is in Zoltan, he wants to take charge of this area and change it according to his vision. For that, he needs the drug that was making everyone go crazy. It was called Devil's Blessing and was made from the hearts of axe demons. Big Hawk says that until now, only God gave people their blessings, but he is not satisfied with that. He believes most people also feel some sort of dissatisfaction that their life's purpose is already decided because of their blessing, and they cannot do anything about it. Big Hawk states that his blessing is Master Torturer, and even though he is a seasoned criminal, he hates his blessing, which is too cruel and disgusting. Using the Devil's Blessing, he got a second blessing and a second chance at life, and now he wants to give that chance to everyone and take them under his control. For that, Big Hawk needs an uprising in society, and he wants Al to be his tool to start it. He commands his men to bring out a demi, who apologizes to Al, saying that he only took the Devil's Blessing to become strong like his dad, but ended up causing trouble for everyone. Outside the Big Hawk's house, a huge crowd has gathered, consisting mainly of adventurers and discontent citizens. Big Hawk takes Al to the balcony and then starts addressing the crowd. He riles them up, saying that the town guard is full of incompetent people who cannot find the culprit responsible for attacking Al's innocent family. He accuses them of hiding a demi since he is their captain's son. The crowd starts getting agitated, and then Big Hawk calls out the two town guards working for him. They lie and say that they took part in hiding a demi because the captain ordered them, but they can no longer do it. Big Hawk declares that he will start a revolution to overthrow the town guard and save Zoltan from their tyranny. For that, he asks Al to take his sword and kill Ademi to start the revolution. Al does not want to do that, and Big Hawk tries to convince him that Ademi was the one who tried to kill his parents. He shamelessly says that even though they gave him the drug and the axe, it was he who decided to go after his parents. Al is still not comfortable with the idea, but then Big Hawk uses his brainwashing skills to compel him to kill. With fast signs, her signature flavor into every sip and kills a boy. He takes the sword and approaches Ademi. But as soon as he sees his reflection on the blade, his brainwashing wears off, and he comes to his senses. Al strikes, but he only cuts the ropes tying Ademi and not him because he does not want to hurt anyone. Ademi is grateful, but then the one-eyed man shows him an axe, and he gets turned on. Big Hawk explains that because of the devil's blessings, whenever Ademi sees an axe, he gets the impulse to kill. Al tries to snap him out of it, but Ademi runs and grabs the axe. Big Hawk tells Al to kill him or get killed. But before anyone can move, a hooded man rushes ahead and cuts down the axe, defeating the one-eyed man in an instant. The man grabs Ademi and then tells the thieves that they thought they fooled Rit, but they got fooled into thinking that by him. He is actually Red, who was hiding among the thieves all this time. He tells Al to grab him and then jumps down from the balcony. Using his skill slow fall, Red runs away with the kids and takes them to a safe place to give Ademi an antidote to suppress his second blessing. Soon, an adventurer called Mew, who's working with Red, comes there and takes the kids, while Red stays behind to deal with the adventurers coming after them. He goes out to face Big Hawk, his men, and Albert, who has sided with them. Albert attacks Red using his martial arts techniques and demonic sword, but he parries his attacks with his cheap bronze sword. Albert realizes that Red is really strong, and all this time, he was just acting weak. Red does not pay him much attention and notices something odd with Big Hawk. He does not try to hide anything and replies that he is William, a contract demon borrowing the body of
Ad Astra
He says that
Abyssosque.
Big Hawk wanted to be the king of Zoltan, and in exchange for that, he let him take complete control of his body. Red engages in a little lighthearted banter with the demon, saying that since Zoltan is a very lazy place, he must have had a tough time rising to the top of the Thieves Guild, and Belial can't agree more. To change things, he took the help of Albert, who was an outsider with great ambitions, and formed a contract with him too. Albert declares that Zoltan is such a shabby place for someone like him, which is why he made a deal with the contract demon to become more powerful so that he could play a role in defeating the demon lord one day. He claims that he won't be doing anything evil even after making a deal with demons, but Red reminds him that because he stood by the Thieves Guild, many people have already lost their lives. Albert thinks of them as a necessary sacrifice and says that with his contract, he plans to raise an army in Zoltan and then lead them to fight the demon lord under the hero. He is quite
Try
lost
something
in his
new at the
delusion
One
and
Man
asks Red
Restaurant.
to join him so that they can join the hero's party. He tells Red to decide if he wants to come with him and be a hero or to defeat him and be Zoltan's savior. However, Red tells him he is not going to choose either of the options, and town guards suddenly surround them. The guild head comes there and tells Albert that he is under arrest and has the right to remain silent. Albert gets frustrated and asks Red why he can't just deal with him himself and rise to glory. But Red replies that he is content running his pharmacy with Rit. Albert can't cope with this and asks him to at least kill him so that he can be remembered as something more than a petty criminal. He charges at Red, who effortlessly dodges his strike. Red strikes down with great speed and precision, and before Albert realizes it, he has lost his arm. Albert falls to his knees, crying because his plans have failed, and Red tells him that being a hero is not just about physical strength. He knows that Albert always tried his best to be Zoltan's hero, despite his flaws, but he chose the wrong way in the end. Meanwhile, Beauty has taken Al and Ademi to Big Hawk's residence, where the crowd is still gathered. He makes them float up using magic, and the boys explain that whatever happened was a conspiracy fueled by the Thieves Guild. Al says that Ademi did not hurt his family, but it was the demonic medicine that made him do it, and he warns the townspeople to stop taking that drug. Al declares that he has already forgiven Ademi, and they are back to being friends, so the people no longer have a reason to fight, and they quietly disperse. Belial or Big Hawk is arrested and put in jail when Huey pays him a visit. He Belial by his name, and the demon realizes that the man was actually the demon General Shizen. Shizen strangles him, telling him that it was lucky that they did not meet in front of Red, because that would have been a mess. He asks Belial why he thought of selling the devil's blessing and lying that it was made from an axe demon's heart. Shisenin knows the truth behind the drug and tells his old friend that if humans learn the truth that the drug can help them awaken their true potential,
what are my orders?
things will go bad for the demons very quickly. Belial declares that he is ending his contract with Big Hawk and suddenly reveals his true form as a goat. He breaks through the prison well and reaches Albert's cell, promising to give him the power to escape and join the heroes' party. Albert has hit rock bottom, and he doesn't even care about that anymore. But the goat demon reminds him that he has already signed a contract.
I can't wait to try out this foldable portable charger that I bought at TikTok Shop.
Temu, Black Friday. Only $7. Large capacity. Waterproof. For colors to choose. Free shipping and free return. Click the video to get them now.
Contract with him to defeat the Demon King, and he must take action for that. Albert tells him to do whatever he pleases, and the demon Belial forges a new contract, someplace far away from Zoltan. The hero Rudy and her party are going through tough times even since Red was kicked out. At first, the group made good progress, and the magician Ares recruited a new member to replace Red. The girl introduced herself as Tis, an assassin, and met Danon, the martial artist, and Theodora, the crusader. After that, Rudy came to see her, and despite her intimidating aura, Tis managed to keep a poker face, even though she was very nervous to stand in front of the hero. Rudy then told her team that tomorrow they would set out to retrieve a weapon used by the previous Demon King. However, that was easier said than done, and after finding no clue for a long time, the martial artist Danon started getting frustrated. He openly told Ares that he sucked at managing the group, and things were never this bad when Red was with them. Danon wants to leave the party to find Red, and he doesn't listen to Ares as he tries to stop him. However, when Rudy comes out, Danon starts sweating about leaving the party, but she permits him to look for her brother. Ares is shocked, as he thought the emotionless hero would not give such an order. Before leaving, Danon talks with Theodora, and they both believe that Ares held a grudge against Red for the longest time. They wonder if Ares could have killed him, but they are sure that even though Red only had common skills, he was strong enough to survive fighting anyone here. With that, Danon leaves on his journey to find him and bring him back. Rudy keeps on waiting for Danon to bring back her brother whenever they take a break. Meanwhile, Ares is getting more and more flustered as nothing goes his way, and they still have no clues about the previous Demon Lord's ultimate weapon. The new girl, Tis, doesn't have anyone to talk to, so Theodora approaches her and explains that their party was not always a mess like this. She tells him about the hero's brother Red, who took care of all the non-combat issues perfectly, and even in battle, he was never a burden on anyone. Theodora believes that the hero and their party badly need Red back. At night, Rudy is in one corner of her tent. She doesn't need to sleep because of her powerful blessing, but the nights are getting boring and long for her without her brother to keep her company. When Red went missing, Ares informed her that he had left to scout the Demon Lord on his own. He made all sorts of excuses to make her believe this lie, and then he said that he would try to guide her in place of her brother now. Rudy realized that Ares was lying and that he had done something to Red, so she punched a hole through him in her rage. However, she knew that he was important for her mission, so she restored him completely before he died. Ares started fearing Rudy from that day on. Rudy now feels like she has a hole in her heart without her brother and wishes that he would return soon. They find the location of the ruins of the previous Demon King, hidden in a desert. Ares is confident that the Demon Lord's ultimate weapon is hidden there. He claims that his blessing sage is the second greatest blessing after Rudy's hero, and together they will surely succeed. Tis goes to refill their bottles before entering the ruins, and Rudy approaches her. The assassin girl nervously asks her when she sleeps since she has always seen her awake, and Rudy replies that she doesn't. Because of her blessing, she has resistance to all sorts of things, like sleep, fatigue, ailments, hunger, and even emotions. Rudy states that her blessing guides her to be a robotic hero without emotions or a need for maintenance. Only the things that could lead her to success in her mission remain with her, and everything else has been removed. And that is why she cannot go after her brother even though she misses him. Soon, Rudy and her party enter the ruins and face a gargantuan demon there. Rudy orders Tis to find clues for weapons while they fight the demon. She recalls what her brother taught her about them. All demons share the same blessing that compels them to kill.
Oz, reveal thyself!
Almost as if God wants them to serve the roles of villains in this world. But that towards the demon and attacks it, and Theodora follows her lead. Aries
One
doesn't
shall
notice that the demon is about to
descend
attack him, and when
once
Theodora alerts him, he
again.
wets his
What are my
pants.
orders?
Rudy protects him, and then, with Theodora's help, she defeats the demon. She tells Aries that she never needed to cover for her brother so much.
For
He
Rex
calls him
Lapis.
useless. Aries is still bitter and delusional, and he thinks that Red, Danon, Mirandala, NATO, and the United Nations were at fault because he couldn't see the attack coming at him. Soon, Tis returns to the group, and Aries asks her if she found the Demon Lord's weapon, and she replies that she found something better. She leads them to an underground hangar and shows them the Demon Lord's private airship. The group takes it and flies with Tis acting as the pilot. She asks Rudy if there is anywhere she wants to go, and she replies that she wants to go somewhere, but shouldn't, since it would be against her duty as the hero. However, one day, Albert and Valil reach the hero's camp at night, and she learns their circumstances, which compel her to action. The next morning, Aries is stunned as he sees the airship leave without him and Theodora, but she is quite relaxed. Aries is still thinking that the hero won't be able to fight without his magic, but Theodora tells him that Rudy will manage on her own. She then goes to check the hero's tent, and besides the body of Balil, she finds the hero's badge and wonders why Rudy would leave that behind. Tis is driving the ship at full speed towards Zoltan, and she thinks that just being the hero's driver is much better than living as an assassin. She asks Rudy why they are going to Zoltan, and she replies that she is interested in the drug Albert.
No excuse for slacking!
When Balil came to her, he tried to sell the idea that he was not like other demons. Instead of seeking war and destruction, he is one of the demons who
My
used
work
the Almighty God and wished to live
finished.
according to his teachings. Rudy thought he was a curious case and then asked him about the drug known as
My
the Devil's
contract
Blessing.
goes
Balil explained that the drug was made from an axe demon's heart, and by using it, one could gain a second blessing. By consuming the drugs, the level of one's original blessing was lowered, and that made it easy to level up by killing weaker monsters and demons. The effects were also temporary, and when the drug wore off, the original blessing would return to a level higher than the original level. Balil told her that this could help humans win against the Demon Lord, but Rudy did not care about most of the explanation, and the only thing she liked about it was that it could weaken one's blessing. She claims that since poisons and curses don't work on her, she wants to test them. She eats the whole pouch of the drug, which is enough to overdose an entire village, and the end results please her greatly. Now, Rudy wants a steady supply of this drug and heads to Zoltan to meet the mastermind behind it, probably someone named Heisenberg. She tells Tis to treat her like a fellow traveler there and hide the fact that she is the hero. Tis is nervous just standing next to her, but she accepts her request with a calm expression. Meanwhile, Red is getting bored in his shop since winter has come, and people
Can't run from death.
Rick comes with hot chocolate and suggests that it would be nice to have something people would like in cold weather, and she recalls that in her country, people used hand warmers. Red likes the idea, but he is worried that it might not work. Red assures him that it will be successful, and he prepares a few samples
heard
to
that
hand
a
out
lot
to
of-
friends, including Gaunt's, Storm, the Doctor, and people at the guild. Everyone likes the product, and he returns home empty-handed, with his hands cold. Rid comes to meet him on the way, and after they talk about how everyone liked the product, it starts to snow. Red says that he should have kept hand warmers for themselves too, and Rid shows him that she has one. They hold it between their hands and take a walk before sitting down on a bench and flirting and kissing in the snow. A few days later, Tis and Rudy landed in the
As per
forest
our
near
contract.
Zoltan. Tis prepares some clothes for Rudy to seem less suspicious, but she is worried about her sword. Rudy plans to do something about it, and she hands Tis the sword as she goes into the forest. After a few minutes, she returns with a different sword, claiming that she got it from a colony of goblins whom she healed using her ability. After that, they head to the town, but a guard is blocking the bridge, demanding people pay him money to cross it. Rudy confronts him about the unfair tax, and he tells her that it is a new hustle idea he has thought of. She refuses to pay him, and the soldier attacks her, but she sends him flying into the river with just one hand. A few minutes later, the foolish guard is warming himself up in front of a fire when Red walks through the bridge. The guard runs to him, telling him about a strong girl who smacked the shit out of him just now, and all his belongings were swept down in the river. He wants to take all the money Red has, but Red ends up punching him with all his might and sending him flying once again. Soon, Rudy enters the town, carrying a giant monster she hunted on her way, and the guard is too speechless to ask her any questions. Tis doesn't understand how she can make the hero stand out less, so she decides to retire to an inn earlier. At night, Red returns to Zoltan just as the gate is about to close, and the guard invites him out for drinks. They go to a local food joint, where Tis also ends up while scouting the town. Red starts talking with her and notices that she is well equipped and keeps a low profile, which means she is probably a spy or an assassin. Tis also realizes Red's keen senses and hidden strength, and both of them think that the other is a pro. Tis returns to their inn and informs Rudy that she has met someone who could be troublesome to deal with. She believes that Red is probably the strongest adventurer in this town, and they must not pick a fight with him. However, Rudy doesn't realize Tis is talking about Red, and she decides that they should steer clear of him. The next day, she scouts the prison, where the alchemist who created the drug is being held captive. Rudy wonders what her brother would do to break him out of prison, and just imagining him talking to her makes her miss him a lot. Thanks to the drug, her blessing was weakened, and her emotions have returned, so she decides to search for him after this. At night, Rudy and Tis sneak into the prison and go to the cell of the one-eyed man, whom we will call Heisenberg from now on. Rudy demands that he make the devil's blessing for her, and he is too afraid to reject her. The next morning, Tis wakes up to see that Rudy cannot sleep since the drug's effect has worn off. She plans to heal Heisenberg so that he can start working again and asks Tis to find some medicine for him since she does not want to reveal her healing power. Tis has found out about a good pharmacy and takes Rudy along with her, but as soon as Rudy enters the shop, she sees Ren. Neither of them can
Rain outlines your
each other
fate.
again, and Rudy smiles as she runs to hug her brother. Dauntz was also in the shop, and he is confused since Red never mentioned anything about his sister. He leaves them in privacy, and Tis asks Red if it is fine to let the elf leave after he has found their secret, but Red trusts him. After that, Tis introduces herself as his replacement at the hero's party. Rudy asks Red if he lives with anyone, and as soon as she learns about Red, she is not happy. Red changes the topic and tells her the truth about how he left the party because Ares convinced him to do that. Rudy promises to teach Ares a lesson when they return, and asks Red to join the party again, saying that everyone wants him back. She explains how Yarandala left the party after him, and Damon also went off solo to locate him. Red is shocked, as he was under the impression that everything was going smoothly for Rudy's party. However, he cannot leave this town because he has found a reason to live here. Upon hearing this, Rudy declares that she will also move to this town. Both Red and Tis are stunned upon hearing this, and then Red returns from grocery shopping. She is also taken aback as she sees Rudy, and then Red brings tea for everyone. He asks Rudy what brings her to Zoltan, and she replies that she was looking for someone to help her defeat the demon lord. As a bonus, she also found her brother. Red is anxious and fears that Rudy will take Red away from her, but he assures her that he does not plan to go anywhere and will stay here with her. Red looks at Rudy for her approval, and she is also shocked to learn
with fast signs, create custom graphics that get tails and tongues wagging. Fast signs, make your statement.
that she was going to stay here.
Let's go.
After that, Rudy leaves for her inn, and Red tells her to come here whenever she wants. As Rudy leaves, she suddenly gets a stroke as the medicine wears off, and she tops herself off again. At night, Tis goes to Heisenberg and tells him that they do not plan to leave Zoltan anytime soon, and he panics because if he gets arrested this time, he will surely be executed. Tis then returns to Rudy and informs him that Heisenberg wants a fully equipped lab to make the drug, and she already has some plans for that. She has heard about some elven ruins in the nearby mountain, and she wants to set up the lab there. Tis thinks that might not be a good idea, and then suddenly Rudy turns towards her. Tis is terrified as the hero stretches her hand out to her pet spider, and she jumps back while drawing her blade. She feels Rudy wants to harm him, but she says that she has no intention of harming anyone and even apologizes for the misunderstanding. Tis realizes that while everyone expected the hero to save the world, even her party members were afraid of her. She had no friends, and her limited social interactions meant that she didn't know how to approach others as well. Tis feels bad for drawing her weapon and walks to Rudy,
What are my orders?
Spider. The next day, Rudy tries helping out at her brother's shop, but because of her scary aura, everyone runs away. Red suggests she smile more, but she has a hard time. He then asks her to come with him so that they can see the town together. He takes her to the sauna first, where everyone remarks how cute she is, and Rudy hides behind him because she is embarrassed. As they leave the sauna, Rudy apologizes for standing out so much, and Red tells her that there is no harm in doing that, and no one is going to pry into their affairs here. He pats her head, calling her his pride and joy, and Rudy wishes that this day lasts forever. Meanwhile, Ares and Theodora are traveling towards Zoltan to track the hero, and Albert acts as their guide. Ares has started showing clear signs of mental illness, but unfortunately, healing magic doesn't work on that. Albert is still a depressed bitch, and he feels like he has done nothing to help anyone. Theodora tells him that he was leading them to the hero, and that was enough. Back at Zoltan, Red has Rudy and Tiss over for dinner, and he serves them Rudy's favorite honey milk as dessert and even prepares a treat for Tiss's pet spider. Red tells Rudy to take a bath before returning to her inn, and since she is too old to take one with her brother, she decides to take one with her sister-in-law. Tiss is also excited to join them, claiming that she is a bath critic. Then, Rudy asks Red how close she is to Red, and she replies that they have done everything except baby making. Red is curious about Red's childhood too, and Rudy tells him that he was always a wonderful person and looked after her. She starts a story about their childhood, when she had not leveled up her blessing and was still weak. One day, she went out looking for her lost friend. Since she was still the hero, Rudy found her in front of a cave, but as she tried to save her, an owlbear attacked them. As a hero, she prioritized her friend's life over her own and got severely injured while fighting. She healed herself and fought back, stabbing the owlbear's eye. However, she got smacked to the ground, and her friend ran away. As Rudy struggled to get back up, she realized there was no chance to win, and she desperately cried out to her brother for help. Just as the owlbear was about to attack her, Red arrived and slashed the beast in half. He hugged Rudy and told her that everything was fine now.
I am a disgrace
Blessing makes her
to the night.
she cannot enjoy anything in the present, and how she felt about things in the past is her only guideline to staying sane. She
I'll do
admits
better
to being
next
jealous
time.
of Red and Loggervia because she could freely convey her emotions and was even getting closer to Red. Rudy starts to cry, saying that she did not want to be the hero, but rather someone like Red. Tiss was hearing the entire conversation, and she realizes that up until now, only Red could save the hero. But from now on, she swears to stay by her side and save her from the burden of her duty as her friend. The next day, Tiss visits Red and Rit by herself, and they thank her for being Rudy's friend. However, she is here to rat her out about using the devil's blessings. Red is stunned that the demon Belial approached her himself and turned her into a junkie. He believes that while her hero's blessing gives her immunity to all kinds of poisons, if the drug weakens her blessing, the side effects may arise soon. Tiss has also told them that they were the ones who broke Heisenberg out of prison, and she asks Red if he is angry at his sister for doing that. He wishes to forgive her this time since no one was hurt, and Tiss is happy to hear that. She requests that he tell this to Rudy too, since she is probably afraid of him being angry at her. Tiss requests that Red buy some alchemy equipment for Heisenberg's lab while she takes Rid with her to the hideout. Meanwhile, Ares and others have also reached Zoltan, and they scour the city for any leads on the runaway hero. They have an invisibility spell on themselves to sneak around, but the demon Shisen, disguised as
There are
the
leads
adventurer
around.
Beauty, still notices their presence. On the other hand, Red is out shopping for alchemy equipment when Danon greets him, and he is missing an arm. They catch up about what happened after he left the party, but do not notice Theodora and Albert sitting near them, shielded by the invisibility spell. Danon asks Red why he left the party, and he replies that he was a liability to the party.
I summon thee!
Not agree with him, and tells him that he is a formidable weapon.
Shadow Raven, let night fall!
But things turned out like everyone Rudy is also in the tower and how she suffers mentally.
As you wish, my Twilight.
He does not understand the complications of Rudy's words and decides that he will try to help her in every way possible.
No rest for the wicked.
To at least tell the story first. Danon tells him that they can talk while they walk and claims that losing his right arm is a big mistake. On the other hand, Ares is resting in bed when Danon visits him, and this one has both his arms intact, which means he he is probably the fake one. The fake David tells Ares that Red has settled down with Rit here, and they even own a small pharmacy. Ares gets pissed off at this too, complaining that after he kicked Red out of the team, he actually decided to retire and get married to the woman he loved. He asks Danon to take him to Red's shop so that he can remove him from the hero's life once and for all, even if he has to use lethal force to do that. The fake Danon leads the crazy Ares to the pharmacy, where he crashes down the shop to relieve his frustration.
You've been a naughty boy.
Slashing their bed.
This will be frozen in time.
I'll settle this.
Try not to enjoy this too much. Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock. Come a little closer. Blitz.
But Danon tells him to think about it later. Just then, a spirit dragon flies overhead, and they do not notice Ares and the fake Danon sitting on it. They are still suspicious of the dragon flying towards the elven ruins and decide to chase after it. Red runs as fast as he can and catches up with Rit and Tiss. He tells her that Danon is on his way too, and she apologizes because she met Danon earlier, but did not tell him about it. Red inquires if she noticed anything different. Red realizes what was going on and tells the sheriff that Danon is missing his right arm, which was bitten off by Shizu. Miraculously survived getting stabbed.
Be still.
Secret from Red and declares that if they run into Shizu, she will kill him.
Go in it.
To join her in battle. After that,
Flex that
rushes on ahead like a dragon.
Cascade. Mind the deluge.
He finds a notice that reads hero.
Your grand finale. Flag slide. Observe. Everybody stand back.
He refuses to call her, so Red twists his arm. He comes rushing to save her drug dealer, but as she sees her brother, she drops her weapon. Red takes her for a private chat and tells her that he heard everything about Tiss. He doesn't scold his sister for doing drugs. Instead, he claims to be working on medicines that curb the blessing's impulses for her. Rudy is astonished, and she asks him why he would do them when he has spent all his life protecting the world and helping everyone he knows. Red replies that all he ever wanted was to protect her, and helping other people was just
Oz, reveal thyself.
he claims that he was fine with being inside her own house, and even if she wants to be the hero, he will stay there. Rudy cannot believe it.
Shadow Raven, let night fall.
She gets emotional.
I summon thee. Here, please. Ready, steady, go. I'll protect us.
Midnight Phantasmagoria.
Of the Axe Demon. However, it did not affect her like that, and instead of the Axe Demon's blessing, a nameless blessing was emerging with her. Her new blessing gives her no skills or urges, and Red is perplexed upon hearing that. Even Heisenberg has never heard of such a thing before, but he believes that if the Axe Demon's blessing isn't awakened, he will not get murderous suits because of
The bond is strong.
the situation doesn't look bad. But then Tiss will something.
It's the fire. Get with me.
She blasts the icons with lightning magic. Red chases after her. Rudy has located a magic caster. But she is stunned.
Surrender and be gentle.
Lightning terrified.
So smooth.
Rudy tells him that she is going to quit being a hero. But Ares doesn't take no for an answer and believes that she was doing this to accommodate her loser brother. Red Red tries to explain the truth to him, but he uses a force attack on him and sends him crashing into the wall. Ares exclaims that now that he has gotten rid of the baggage, Rudy should be free to join him, but she is angry and stabs him. Rudy tells him that since her brother was not seriously injured, she was going to let him live, but she is not coming back with him in any circumstance. She goes to Red and heals him, and then leaves Ares bleeding on the floor. He gets even more deranged with each passing moment and shouts that even the hero is an idiot beyond saving. The fake Dana, she's watching this, he transforms into beauty to approach
You've
Ares.
been a naughty boy.
Ares heals himself with magic and then tells Shizune that he knows who Red is and is afraid to scare her.
Don't be such a brute.
Out of my way!
Not one to fight with. Instead, he tells Ares that another of the first heroes
Try not to enjoy this.
Frostbite. Free.
blessing of the hero and wanted to dedicate his life to helping Rudy save the world. Now, everything he worked so hard for has been taken away from him, and he is determined to get it back at all costs. On the other side, Red and Rudy join their group and tell them that Ares was here and he was planning to win Rudy over. Tis is keeping tabs on him and notifies the group that Ares was heading to the basement with another person, who is trying to conceal his presence with magic. Red suspects that the other person is Shisenden, and Red wants to confront Ares and alert him that he is being tricked by a demon. Heisenberg, who has no idea what is happening, asks anyone to explain things to him, but he gets no
Wherever
answer
in this
and has
world
no
I
choice
roam,
but to follow the
I
group as
carry
they head
memories
towards
of my
Ares.
home.
Meanwhile, Danon, Theodora,
Display.
and Albert have also entered the ruins. Danon wants to find enemies and fight them right away, but Theodora tells him to be careful, as she needs him. Danon friend-zones her immediately and runs off alone, breaking doors with his powerful punches. Meanwhile, Shisenden and Ares have reached the lowest level of the ruins, which looks like a high-tech lab. Suddenly, Danon breaks a window and jumps in before stealing a sword from a skeleton and throwing it towards Shisenden. He blocks it at the last moment, but his hands get numb because of the impact. Ares is surprised to see Danon without an arm, but he tells him to step aside so that he can finish his battle with the demon. Shisenden charges at him first, hoping to take advantage of Danon's disability.
Time to
He
go.
punches him with his left hand and sends him crashing. Danon tells Shisenden that since he took his dominant arm away, he trained with his left and became even more powerful. He launches a powerful punch at the demon and hits him against the wall before going nuts with punches and kicks. Shisenden cannot fight back, and he asks Ares for help. Ares wonders if he should attack Danon, who is a former comrade in arms and someone much stronger than him in close combat. However, his greed to get the previous hero's weapon compels him to attack Danon with a thundering spear. Danon dodges the attack, but the lightning still stuns him, and Shisenden stabs him with his sword, causing an explosion inside his guts. Danon is still standing after taking serious damage, and to defeat him for good, Shisenden transforms into his real self. He attacks Danon with his six-sword technique, but he parries all the blows with just his left arm and breaks all his swords one by one.
Old Spice shampoo smells great and helps keep your hair thick and healthy looking.
However, Shisenden was hiding a blade beneath his feet and stabbed Danon, who accepted his defeat and lost consciousness. Ares feels nothing about seeing his former teammate being defeated, because this is not the first time he has betrayed anyone. He has planned to ambush Red when they crossed the bridge, because he knew how strong he was. That was exactly why Ares wanted to get rid of him, and since with Red around, he could not take credit for being the hero's right arm. Shisenden thanks Ares for saving him, and he picks up the sword Danon threw at him as they start moving towards their goal. They come to a locked door, and Shisenden uses a heart-shaped diamond to override its lock mechanism and force it to open. As they reach the door room of the facility, Ares is stunned to find it has technology much more advanced than their time. However, his disbelief increases even more as Shisenden opens the locker, revealing 5 identical swords and one similar sword missing from the set. The sword was the Holy Demon Slayer built by the hero Rudy.
Time to go.
There are 6 of those swords when all the texts say that it was one of a kind. However, Shisenden tells him that none of these swords are Holy Demon Slayer, and even the one with Rudy is a fake. He says that the swords are mere replicas of the divine swords used by the first hero, and even the soul of the current hero is but a copy of the first hero's soul. Shisenden tells Ares that there are 2 things he must do to return Rudy to the path of being a hero. First, he should give her one of these 5 swords that will strengthen her hero's blessing and cleanse limits the effects of the drug. The second thing is taking away whatever reason she has for quitting to be a hero. Ares immediately thinks of eliminating Red, and as the demon hands him over one sword, he laughs like a maniac. Red and his group have reached a courtyard with 3 doors, and they sense Shissenden near them. Rudy takes out Red's sword, Thunderwaker, from her item box and returns it to him. Soon, a door opens, and Shissenden comes out of it in the form of Red's teacher. She is furious and attacks him without wasting a moment. But she finds that she just sliced an illusion. The real Shissenden was hiding with an invisibility spell nearby, and she blocked his attack somehow. Red rushes in to support her, but as they are facing the demon, Ares suddenly attacks them with fire magic. Red and Rid dodge the attack, and Rudy puts a magic shield around them to protect them from the fire. She tells Ares that he can still be forgiven if he stops right now, but he tells her that it is too late for that. Ares and Rudy attack each other with lightning-type magic attacks, and their attacks are equally matched. They draw their swords, and Ares hopes to just touch his sword to Rudy. However, she creates a powerful whirlwind just by switching her sword around, and it pushes Ares and Shissenden back. The sword Ares had is destroyed, and Shissenden realizes that Rudy's powers were already stronger than those of the previous hero. Just then, Tis senses something coming from the ground, and as Red and Rid try to dodge it, the floor breaks, and Theodora comes out riding a dragon. She attacks Rid without a warning and restrains her with spiritual chains. Theodora then attacks Rudy, who blocks her attack and asks her why she is doing this. Theodora replies that she must kill the hero
This
right now to
realm is
save the
true.
world. And Rudy replies that she never wanted to be a hero, and was basically forced into this job. Theodora attacks her again, and she marginally overwhelms Rudy, while claiming that because of her neglect of duty, countless people suffer, and she will kill her so a new hero can be born. On the other hand, Theodora's dragon steps on Rid, and Red is torn between saving his sister and his lover. Rid squirms and frees herself from the dragon's claw to call out Theodora's bullshit. She says that people are more than just their blessings, and Rudy cannot be expected to just be the hero and nothing
If
else.
you ever have any
Theodora says
questions
that people
about...
must live according to their blessings, as it is God's wish, and Rid implies that God is wrong. Even Shissenden agrees with her on this, and he adds that just because someone has the blessing of a hero, that person does not become worthy of saving the world. Red notices that the dragon is about to attack Rit, and he rushes to save her by slaying it. However, Ares takes advantage of this chance and throws a giant metallic cube at them, tossing them into a broken elevator, and they go down. Rudy panics at seeing her brother get attacked and rushes to face him. Theodora stands in her way, but she simply slashes her away before running into Shissenden. He attacks her, and her holy sword breaks while blocking his blow. The ground under their feet collapses, and they too fall down. Now, Ares feels that he is finally only one step away from achieving his goal. He laughs, saying that now Red is dead and he is alive, which means Rudy will have no choice but to come with him. He notices Tis standing behind him and attacks her with a mini tornado, just because he feels like it. Tis struggles to get up and declares that a crazy man like him cannot be entrusted with the hero. She talks about how Rudy is just an ordinary girl on the inside, and how she will protect her friend at all. Costs, but then proceeds to collapse. Ares laughs like the mad villain he is, and this pisses off Heisenberg. He throws a smoke bomb and lashes out at Ares
The one
for not
before
even
you.
realizing that he is the bad guy here. Ares immediately shoots him down. Tiss's pet spider comes ahead to defend her from the crazy magician, but he just stomps on it. On the other hand, Red and Rid are free to fall along with the elevator, but they do not know that Danon is below them. He has somehow recovered from his injuries and knows that while everyone else is thinking complex thoughts, he must do what he can to save all his friends. He notices the elevator and uses a powerful martial arts technique to create a storm that shatters the elevator and lifts Red and Rid up. They come out on the floor where
The
Ares
scenery is
he loses it
wonderful.
over the fact that he failed
Surely
once
enough
again.
to convince
He
anyone
attacks
to
them
become a
with a giant
wanderer.
lightning spear, and Red charges ahead towards him, with Rid buffing him up with magic. He endures the lightning, but Rid takes the full damage. Ares is confident that he can kill Red with his own hands now, but as he tries to cast his spell, he finds that his hand has been tied down by the spider's silk. He realizes he cannot do anything, and Red attacks him, literally unarming him with one swift slash before striking him down. Ares screams for help, asking Shissenden to restore his hands so that he can use magic, but there is no one coming to help him now. In his final moments, he realizes that despite swearing to serve the hero, He only hurt her, and then dies while regretting his decisions. On the other hand, Rudy is in the basement, facing Shisemin, who declares that she is a threat to the order of this world and swears to eliminate her. He covers his swords in a magical aura and attacks Rudy, but she is able to fend him off just with her broken sword. She declares that she just wants to live like a normal girl with her brother, but Shisemin tells her that she must sacrifice everything to become the hero. Rudy is taking none of his nonsense and declares that she is full of rage right now. Shisemin realizes that she is brimming with power, and he cannot even hope to stand against her right now. Rudy charges at him and punches him with her full might, and Shisemin blocks her attack with his swords. Rudy's punch shatters them all and sends him flying at supersonic speed. She then rushes to the sword Shisemin had dropped earlier and picks it up to finish him for good. As Shisemin is getting shredded to pieces, he smiles, thinking that he made the hero pick up the sword, and this means her blessing is going to get much stronger and gain complete control over her. Just as Rudy finishes him off, she suddenly becomes a cold murder machine once again. On the higher floor, Red treats the injured Theodora since he still considers her a friend, even after she attacked them earlier. Soon, Rudy comes out after finishing her battle, and she looks quite gloomy. Red approaches her, but he realizes that something is wrong. However, it is too late for that, and Rudy attacks him. But Tis comes in between them and takes the blow on her body. She tells the hero that she should not harm her dear brother, and then passes out. Red is shocked and realizes that his sister is not in control of herself. Red tells Rit and Heisenberg to tend to Tis while he distracts Rudy. She follows him as he steps aside and starts attacking him again. Red blocks her blows and tries to wake her up, but she does not respond and keeps on pushing him back. Red's sword is cracked, and he wrests it down and draws his bronze sword instead. Rudy rushes towards him again, and he uses his bronze sword to intercept her attack and trap her sword. Red twists her hand to disarm her, and Rudy finally snaps out of her trance. She starts crying as she realizes what she just did and clings to Red, and he comforts her. Danon and Albert come to the floor after all the action is over, and their loud voice wakes Theodora. Rid says that her powers are not strong enough to heal Tiss's wound, and Rudy wipes her tears as she rushes to help her friend. However, she soon learns that she cannot channel the power her blessing gives her. She starts crying again, saying that the blessing that always urged her to fight when she did not want to is refusing to give her power when she truly wants to save someone. Theodora steps up and uses her power to heal Tiss, and then she tells Rudy that she will not apologize to her since she believed her way was right. She states that after Red left their party, there was only one reason Rudy's blessing didn't urge her to bring him back. Theodora believes that Rudy had become too strong, and she did not need a party then. All the people with her were just slowing her down. With her resistance to basic biological needs, Rudy could march on ahead alone and defeat the Demon Lord by herself if necessary. Theodora claims that she realizes that to be a hero was a lonely and cruel thing, yet she wanted to push Rudy onwards so that she could fulfill her role. She admits that it was a great sin to betray the hero and her friend, so she requests Rudy to strike her down. However, Albert has started simping for Theodora, and he advocates that while her actions may be excessive, she only did what she thought was the best for humanity. He says that the path to saving the world as a hero was much more grim than he thought it would be, and it is normal for people to be torn between opposing thoughts. However, Theodora had the determination to follow her ideals to the end, and that makes her a hero. Albert begs everyone to spare her life. Before anyone can comment on his request, Tis wakes up, and Rudy is glad to see that she is fine. She tells Theodora that she does not want any more bloodshed today, and declares that she will live as Rudy from now, and not as the hero. Rudy claims that she always believed Theodora was more worthy of being called a hero, as she has been fighting to save the world long before her. Red chime.
With fast signs, her signature flavor into every sip and some.
Chimes in, stating that just strength does not make one a hero, and it was the desire to save the world that counts. Theodora is happy to hear that and decides to embark on her journey to defeat the Demon Lord with like-minded companions, rather than forcing the job on someone unwilling. Soon, everyone else settles down into a peaceful life, and Rudy and Tis move to Zoltan permanently. They visit Red's shop one day, and it starts to snow. Rudy is no longer protected by her blessing, and she can finally feel what cold weather feels like. Rid tells her to come inside as she will catch a cold, and Rudy replies that she has never had one before, so she is looking forward to her first cold. She starts sneezing immediately, and Red drapes his coat around her as he leads her in. They sit down for breakfast, and Rudy can fully enjoy the taste of pizza now. The new blessing she received after doing drugs was named New Truth. It has a powerful skill called the Ruler which can dominate and control other blessings. Using that skill, she is able to subdue her hero's blessing without using the devil's blessing. In the evening, the local priest holds a service for Ares, and only his former party members attend it. According to the church, whenever a person is reborn, they get a different blessing from the last time. And Red wishes that Ares is free from the burden of being a saint in his next life. After the funeral, Danon tells his friends that he will leave soon to join Theodora and Albert to fight the Demon Lord. Before that, he wants to know if Red has any idea as to how Shisenden could hold the holy swords meant to kill the Demon Lord. There is also the question of why there were 6 identical swords, and Tis suggests that the number matched the arms of Asura demons like Shisenden. Before things get too confusing, Red tells Rudy and others to stop thinking about it, as it was Theodora's job to figure things out now. After that, Red returns home to Rit, who has been feeling anxious and insecure for the past few days. She believes that everyone needs Red and his blessing to guide them to the correct path, and someday he might leave her to guide someone else in need. However, Red tells her that there is no one more important to him than her and hugs her, promising that they are going to live together forever and enjoy their slow lives. Red and Rit achieve their happily ever after and live a blissful married life. Rudy has also become a perfectly normal girl now, and she works as the newbie rank adventurer for Zoltan while helping out her brother too. The 3 of them and Tis live like a big happy family, enjoying their slow life and being a good help to whoever comes asking for it.
Video on my channel. Ray, what's good, man? Appreciate the love, man. Sometimes MW3 feel like it's smashing. It's 100%.